Testing, testing. Testing, testing. Oh, hello there. My intros always suck, I'm so sorry. But joining us today, we have this cute little man. Let me see if you can see. Can you see? Look at this baby. Is that my hand in the way? What is that? Just a glare. Okay, and I gotta stop making that sound effect. But there he is, our little friend is joining us today. But okay, just hanging out today. There's gonna be a lot of cars and humans passing by and judging me hardcore because basically it's all in my head and that's how it feels, so it must be real. Because the human brain, our minds are just powerful things. And I should really redo this intro, but for time's sake and just why not? Let's not delete this. Okay. So today I wanted to talk about basically talking. So my speech impediment, a stutter, a stammer. Yeah. So we're gonna call this video, and I have a name all prepared for us. I don't know where to. Is this a bad angle? I don't know. Probably. What did I call this? My unhealthy relationship with my stutter. Okay. Do I like go like this? Is that worse? I don't care. Okay. So, just like how it sounds. And I've been adding to these notes on my phone, on my laptop, and I took a picture of my laptop screen because I'm a weirdo, you know. But anyway, I've been adding to these notes on my notes app, on my laptop, as I said, voice crack, for months now. And here I am finally going to make a video on it. So, a little bit of background first, and then I'll get into my direct and specific feelings on how having a speech impediment affects impediment. Sounds so weird, and I've said it a lot, so why does it sound so weird? Anyway, just basically my thoughts and feelings on how it has affected my life and my relationships and friendships and things. So, a few things to keep in mind. So, my speech impediment is not nearly as noticeable as when I was younger and growing up, and I swear I was born with anxiety, and that's another thing. So, anxiety and speech impediments, like a stammer, a stutter, for example, and there is a difference. They're not exactly the same thing, and I'll explain that in a sec. But they're not always linked or a match. Like, you have anxiety, you automatically have a stutter, or you have a stutter, so you must have anxiety. It's not always a correlation. Hi, baby. And I did overcome a lot of it because my anxiety has improved, but at the same time, it's still there. And also, I don't think it's always linked, this anxiety and the speech impediment with me, just because sometimes I'm calm, cool, and collected, and I'm even feeling confident, which is rare for me, and I slip up and I stutter and I'm embarrassed and a little bit ashamed. And just really fast before I forget. So the difference between a stutter and a stammer, I would say, is essentially that a stutter is when you repeat a sound, like for example, stutter. So you're repeating those sounds in the word. And then a stammer is like an elongation. Is that a word? Like it's elongated, like stammer, so it sounds more like that. So technically I have both, but I think the stutter has been more pronounced and obvious in my past history, whatever. So I learned to control and hide it for the most part, and I think that's true. And my personality type, especially growing up so shy and quiet and having outgrown some of that and becoming more talkative and friendly over the years, I just feel like this whole time it's been kept very quiet. My speech problem has, because I was kept quiet, and then when I started talking, I talked myself out of it kind of, and I trained myself how to avoid the speech problem. Well, not so much problem. I don't want to call it a problem because there are worse things in life. And honestly, your trials should not be anything you're ashamed of. Yet, there's a trigger for me where I do feel embarrassment and shame when it comes to my speech so-called problem. So that's just how my brain views it, and especially as a perfectionist, that's why it does piss me off sometimes when I get flare-ups and the speech is more pronounced at times. So I also avoid certain words when talking. Like if a word starts with a W, I'll try to substitute it with something else, so that can be hard for me. Um, things like that. So there are words that I honestly fear and I really try not to use. Sounds bizarre, but it's just where I'm at and where I've been for a long ass time now. My parents say that they don't hear it, but I sure do. So we critique ourselves more than others do, I would say, unless there's a person out there who's an absolute jerk and like a total asshole and they really criticize others, there are humans that are that way. But I just feel like with me, I'm pretty hard on myself, and as a perfectionist, and with growing up with strict parents, etc., etc., I just feel like I definitely hear it more than others do. And I think others do if it's really obvious and really bad, as I call it. And it shouldn't be seen as bad, it's just a speech impediment. It's really not a bad thing, okay? And anyway, certain things still freak me out. And these are appointments, certain errands, phone calls, especially talking to strangers and meeting new people. I don't like to pick up my meds at Walgreens. I take 3 different medications. One is Fred Meyer, the other 2 are Walgreens. Trying to get off my meds in the future, we'll see how that works. And it's not just because I want to get off meds, just because I want to avoid having to pick my prescriptions up, but that is a bonus. And this is showing. Whoops. What is even showing? Because there's nothing there. But anyway, um, so I just don't like to. I have to say my name. Sometimes I stutter on my name, and you can't substitute your name. So if you sometimes, occasionally, not always, in my case, stutter on your name, you don't want to use it, and you want to go by M, just EM. My name's Emily. But sometimes I go by M. Sometimes I tell people if I just meet them or if I get to know them, I'm like, you can call me M, so that I don't have to use my name around them or introduce myself with my name. I might stutter on it. Sometimes I use my full name. Sometimes I don't when I introduce myself, so just things like that. So it almost feels like the first day of school, like certain things that just freak me out. And these are life skills, so I really have to get over them. And a perk of being at home is your parents can help you more. And I'm almost 24 freaking fracking years old, and these things can just be really hard for me still. Um, I also hate drive-throughs, and I think that will always be. I would rather do face-to-face in person, like prescriptions, food stops. Do people even call them food stops? That just sounds weird. Um, Anyway, just a few more thoughts, then I'll get into other things and stuff. So, gum and meds help. I take meds for sleep, for ADHD/ADD, and mood. And I found that my Strattera medication, which I've been on and off for the past few years, although in high school I took it like all 4 years of high school. But anyway, I'm back on it now, have been for a year to a year and a half, and also helps with anxiety, I found, which obviously really helps. So it helps me to have a clear mind and collect my thoughts and all my thoughts and ideas, whatever my words are in a row, in a line. And I found that I talk more on Strattera and my speech improves on Strattera, as does my anxiety. So very interesting facts. And usually with an ADHD med, you are going to be talking less, but I talk more. So maybe that's a sign I need to really get off these meds, but it's okay. I'll have to come to that issue after school because these meds are helping me get through college. So, gum also helps, and I'm chewing gum right now. So, there's that, and then one more thought, then I'll get into some other thoughts. Hopefully, this isn't all over the place. Sorry if it is, trying to whatever, just my ADD might show because spring is just a harder year for me, just with my health and everything. But I was just gonna say, the other day, and I've done this before in the past, but not for a long, long, long ass time, And I wanted to go to YouTube to research some things, some interviews regarding speech, especially stutters. And there's a comedian, I can't think of his name right now, but he had a stutter and it's improved with time. I think he got brain damage or a concussion or some injury to his head. So there's him who I really admire. And then years and years ago on American Idol, I don't really watch the show anymore. But anyway, there was a guy who had a speech impediment and it was a stutter and it was very obvious, almost severe. But there are certain words I don't like using, like my speech impediment's bad, or I hate it, or it's hard, it's a bad thing, as I said. It's seen as a problem, but severe goes under that category of words not to use. So, pardon that. But he had a speech impediment, a stutter, and when he sang, it was gone. It vanished. It just poof, it was gone. So I admire him as well, not just because his speech goes away at times, but because he has a speech impediment that he is not allowed to hold him back in his life. And well, I just really admire that. So there's that. And then some interviews. There was a girl and she said something that really, really hit me and really, really struck me. And oh, poop, can I remember what it was? Are you hot? I hope you're not getting too hot. Sometimes my camera just gets hot. You're so attractive. Damn. No, I'm just kidding. But it's true. Anyway, so my finger's like getting tired. Okay, we'll just maybe go like this. What did she say? Oh, right. And I've had this thought too, and it was just a validation, like I'm not alone and it's okay. She said if she knew she wouldn't stutter, she wouldn't have anxiety. And I was like, holy poop, that's so true. That's like the most true thing and most relatable thing that I've ever heard in probably my whole life. And just knowing that it's not just me and that it's somebody else. It's also sad that it is another person, that I can relate to someone else about that, because it's such a hard thing. Social anxiety, it's lonely, it's isolating, it's hard, it just makes life hell sometimes. And you're scared of people, your own species, and you're even sometimes scared around your own family and friends, So it's just a discomfort, a feeling you're gonna be judged, hated, disliked, avoided. You're just paranoid. And anyway, that's a different thing. But just knowing like that I do stutter sometimes, it really makes my anxiety increase. So anyway, those are some things that I wanted to talk about. And reading aloud is another thing that I've always hated. And you can't substitute any words there. And if you do, and I used to, like in class or at church, when I was a lot younger, and you just can't do that. And I would be told, don't change the words around. And how the poop do you explain to that person, like, well, I have a speech impediment? It's something that's just not really talked about much. And I think it needs to be addressed. There are so many things that are taboo, that are so-called uncomfortable to talk about, things that we're not okay with as a society to discuss. Everything from weight and abuse to assault and speech and our health, mental, physical, whatever, it's not being talked about. I mean, technically it is, but it's not where it needs to be. It's not where our goal with that should be at. Anyway, so my unhealthy relationship with my stutter. So essentially, I'm ashamed of my stutter, which means that I'm even a little ashamed of who I am. And it's sad. Like, does this look weird with my leg here? Probably. Let's put that down. So, I am ashamed. And I have let it control me and my life. I've allowed it to define me. I've allowed it in just to control my mood, my feeling, my identity. And I've like invited it and I zone in on it. I kind of obsess over my speech and my anxiety. And I want to come across smart and intelligent. That's very important to me. And when you have a speech impediment, it's an imperfection, and it makes people, or in my eyes, and from what I've heard through research and the online community with speech impediments, other people feel bad. Like, oh, I can't understand you. Can you repeat that? Calm down, you're fine. So there's a judgment there and there's a misunderstanding there. And the way I see it, I don't feel like people think I'm smart when I talk like that, or when I like don't talk right. Well, like so-called right. Um, so, um, I got a message from my parents. We got family plans. So I'll just wrap this up really fast. Let me text them back. There's just a lot going on with my family right now. Part of why I'm gone is because of the nonsense, the ongoings on of the family. I'll just send that to him. Okay, so yeah, we got our house underway to be sold, and they just took the pictures, and that's why I'm out with Daxton, my Poochie Poo. And that's why we're making this video. So, just a few things. I might just like read this off and add a little bit here and there. So, no, it doesn't automatically mean you're anxious or retarded or something, and I hate the word retarded anyway to describe anyone. So I've talked about that. Like, it doesn't mean you're automatically anxious or you automatically have anxiety. But the retarded thing, that is very much myself. I don't think other people view me as retarded if I pick up my medication and stutter or whatever. It's a very inward conflict where that's how I view myself, almost. And again, it's that smart thing. I gotta be smart. So kind of sounds conceited if I say it that way, but anyway, so it's kind of a stutter that's a secret, a stutter that's silent a little bit because you can't really notice it, and it's not as obvious anymore. It's not nearly as often. So I think to myself, this is a strange thought, okay? But I don't deserve this, like this or that, whatever, insert thing here, because I have a stutter. So I'm like, do I really deserve my life and an education and no debt and student loans and being able to live at home and having the friends and the relationships I have right now? Like, am I deserving of this? Like, I'm this imperfect being and I have this so-called problem, as I said. And then also, I've had dark thoughts because of my stutter, and it's something that I wish I could change about myself. And as a perfectionist and as a person who struggles with mental health, a stutter can be very hard because you think low of yourself, you don't think highly of yourself, you don't have the best self-esteem. And dark thoughts, just like how they sound, like depressed thoughts, dark thoughts. Don't want to get too into that. It's pretty personal. Yeah, I do wish I could change that about myself. And when I die, I believe that I won't have it anymore, and that I'm going to have years and years and forever and eternity with no anxiety anymore. And I think with that comes with no more speech impediment. And can't wait for that. So unless I go to hell, then I don't get that enjoyment with the lack of stutter, because hell might include all your problems you have now. So yes, I do look down upon myself because of it. It doesn't help with my poor self-esteem. I tend to dread almost all social interaction before it happens, so there's a buildup, that fear, no matter if they're best friends, close friends, immediate family, extended family. It could be anyone and everyone from stranger to my boy. It's just, I dread that a little bit. And then errands, appointments, phone calls, as I said, they're the all-time worst. Causes me to have an all-time low. I just get really hard on myself. I'll do a voice recording to talk to my friend, but that's just how we prefer to communicate with each other. But I find myself constantly redoing the recordings because I feel like I stutter. My parents say, oh, it's all in your head. And sometimes it is, sometimes it's not. I'm very self-aware, and I can really hear it. Like, I hear myself repeat sounds. I hear myself slip up. I hear myself mess up, fail with speech. It's bizarre, okay? I don't know. It's just, Anyway, yeah, I just, even with like a really close friend, I don't want to talk to them on the phone. I'd rather do a recording because like I have time to think of what to say. If I stutter, I can hit delete, start again, things like that. Plus, I'm not put on the spot. So my parents say that they don't hear anything, that my anxiety doesn't show, but it just feels so real. So yeah, it really does define and control me for so long, and it has, and it probably will. And the anxiety doesn't show. As I said, I want to come across smart, right? And to me, that's really important. And my worst fear probably is that my anxiety shows and that you can hear my speech problem. Again, problem. And anyway, so this was kind of random and all over the place and a little bit of everything, but just something I wanted to rant and ramble about and share. Just something I felt strongly to talk about. And whatever your so-called enunciate, is that how you say it? Enunciate? Can't enunciate. Um, Whatever your so-called problem, issue, flare, quote, insert the word you use to describe this hardship, this trial in your life, insert that here. Um, Whatever it may be, it doesn't define you. It's a part of you. It's not all of you. It's a part of your life. It doesn't make you you. It's a so-called flaw. It's a so-called imperfection. It's something that you have, and it's something that doesn't have you. And this speech, this little pep talk sounds really corny and cheesy, but I just hope you know that today and tomorrow and the next day, they're here for you. This is your day, your time. It's your life. It's for you, and good things are going to happen for you. That's a promise. I don't know when, but I know that they're on the way. They might be here now for you. And this is really getting intense and severe in the pep talk area, but I just really want to stress to you that this hardship that you have in your life right now, or you had yesterday, or that you will have tomorrow, your past, your present, your future, whatever, no matter where you're at in that or what that thing is, just know that it doesn't have you. It will affect you. It doesn't define you. And it's so hard to see that perspective sometimes. But even if you, and this sounds so like, I'm a good little church girl, but like I do believe in God and I do believe in prayer and I am a spiritual person, I'm very vague in it. Like it's God, Christ. I don't like the idea of church. I'm not like in my scriptures 24/7. I'm not praying to God like, help me find my earring. But it's just, I really believe if you pray that you can at least feel peace, even if you're praying to like a tree. This sounds so weird, but just if you're like praying to the world, to some form of power, or like a wish for a good life, like even if you're praying for that, like praying for good karma, if that makes sense, whatever you want to do with that, um, just pray for peace, contentment, joy, not inner peace especially, just that you'll be okay and you'll know like it's not the end, it doesn't end here, this isn't forever. I don't think it will be. So before this gets any cornier or cheesier, I think I'm gonna end it here. And I just wanted to share where I'm at in my anxiety. Oh, just a few more things. Um, yeah, so I have some things coming up. Like I'm filming this where tomorrow I got some people coming over, and the next day I got church, and I don't know a lot of people there. And then I have a meeting with somebody from church. I have that after church, and then I have like an activity, like a church activity with people my own age. Gonna hang out with people my age, and I've met them a few times. I don't go to everything because I can't for my anxiety. And you have to ease into things. Then I got my class next week as well, only 2 days, hour and a half each of those days. But it's just, I dread things and I'm really trying not to. So this is a pep talk that I also have to hear and rehear and put on repeat, I think, because it's very important that I understand these things. And they're kind of like little tips and tricks and whatever, however you want to view them. So we're gonna sign off here with this boy. Hiya, toots. Look at him. Squeaky chair. Okay, bye.